This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. It was great to have a day off yesterday, and we are counting down. Spring training is almost over. It is hard to believe. We got a great show for you today. My new broadcast partner, two-time World Series champion and five-time All-Star, Steve Sachs, will be here. Sachs from Sacramento will be joining me for every single home game in Sacramento on NBC Sports California. We'll call the show A's Cast on NBC Sports. So we're going to have Sachs on the next couple days as he's on the East Coast, but a lot to wrap with him. Obviously, the Dodgers have kicked off the season in Tokyo at the Tokyo Dome against the Chicago Cubs. They have won two straight. Ouch for the Chicago Cubs to fly all that way to start 0-2. Jared Sandler, broadcaster for the Rangers. We told you we're going to start previewing our division before we get out of here. Is the last day Monday?
Monday, last day, yeah.
It's the White Sox, I think it is.
Yeah, so we'll do the Astros.
We will not
Monday
be previewing the Chicago White Sox.
Why not?
Because we're not. We're not going to the South Side.
We forgot to play that. We got to let Nate in the studio in on this game, the South Side game.
I think Nate will do a great. By the way, Nate is back. Great to have Nate back. Nate was on his deathbed, it sounds like, but he is recouped and he's ready to go. Good to have him back in studio. Jared Sandler, once again, Rangers broadcaster here at noon, and then we'll play our Seth Brown interview that we did down in spring training down at Hohokam at 12:35. How are you today, Cody? Did you have a good day off?
I'm good. I got a lot. It's easy to get some behind the scenes stuff done, like opens and all that stuff when we, there's not a live show we have to worry about. So I did a lot of that yesterday.
Well, behind the scenes, everybody, it's going. We've already had two meetings today. We are an outfit that hardly ever meets. So meetings for us, I went from one Google Meets call to another Google Meets call. I don't know how people, if you are somebody that does that all day long, God bless you. Because I would struggle having to sit there looking at my computer, at my phone, and people in boxes and every day doing meetings like that, trying to get business done. I'm more a face-to-face type person rather than looking at somebody on a screen. That would drive me nuts.
Yeah, I mean, we did it. We had to do it during COVID. That's where it all started. Where, before Skype was the big the interface you'd use.
Skype's gone, right?
If it's not gone, it's obsolete because Zoom took over during COVID, and it's kind of been what everyone uses.
If you bought stock in Zoom, good on you.
It's like buying Facebook all those years ago.
Good on you. So, yeah, we're preparing for the season as we what you're going to hear on 650 KSTE, what you're going to hear on 95.5, The Bull HD in Las Vegas. Obviously, everybody on A's Cast. Formats will be changing a little bit. A's Cast Live is not changing. We will do our show before the game. Then we will break away. Cody and I and Johnny, Ken, and Chris Carey will take over for about 25 minutes. Then they're going to throw to us, and we're going to simulcast television and radio. This is like old school Chick Hearn doing the Los Angeles Lakers back in the day. Magic to Worthy. I mean, this is old school. So what you see on NBC Sports California is going to be the same thing you hear on A's Cast and KSTE and also on the Bull. Pretty cool. And then the post game from the audio side, you'll be listening to Ken and Johnny and Chris. And when the game's over, it's going to be, that's the game. And then they're going to throw it to us on NBC which we'll also be simulcasting here on A's Cast and on the A's Radio Network. So we'll be simulcasting the pre and the post game. So if there's any bumps early, could happen, but we'll figure it out and we'll get it rolling for you guys. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So don't worry from the audio side. Obviously my career I started in radio before I ever started doing TV. I'm going to make sure that everybody, the worst thing you can do is a television show and then just put it on radio. And I let everybody on the TV side understand that we have to make sure that when you're driving down the highway at 70 miles an hour and you're going in and out of traffic, you need to understand what we're talking about, right? So I will make sure our audio fan base is taken care of. TV, they can already see what's going on. I'm very aware we'll be taking care of you on the A's Cast and the A's Radio Network side. You will be my first and foremost priority when we start this adventure, and it will be an adventure. I want to start today's show with what has happened in Tokyo from the standpoint of what we talked about with you about potential changes, because you have to follow up on this stuff. We talked about when Max Scherzer,
future Hall of Famer,
was talking with one of the great media personalities, from a writer to a broadcaster in our industry, friend of the program, Tom Verducci, about we need to fix how these front offices want to deal with pitching. Pitchers used to be stars. Pitchers used to be on the marquee. We cared about the matchups every single day. We still put it up there, but now we don't care because we know that these pitchers aren't going to go very long, and it's not good for our game. I've talked a lot about on this show, the guy who handles the ball or the object is an important person when selling our game. Whether it's a quarterback with the football, point guard in basketball, center in hockey with the puck, pitcher in baseball, the guy who handles the object the most is very important. And this really played out in these two games. So the whole idea is, how do we make front offices keep their starting pitchers out there longer? Because they want them out fast. They never want them going through a lineup a third time. They want the quick hook. So what do? Well, Max Scherzer told Tom Verducci, we went over that on this show, that we got to put some rules in. That if your pitcher doesn't do X, Y, and Z, we're pulling your DH. And if we pull your DH, now you got to start using pinch hitters. And we know that your bench has only 4 guys because you already have 13 pitchers. Back in the old days, you go at 8, 9 pitchers, and you had this long bench. You had versatility, especially in the National League, because you needed pinch hitters. Well, now we got rid of the DH, and these front offices want 8 million pitchers, so we have no bench. So you really have 4 guys, but I look at it as you really have 3 guys, because your 4th guy is your backup catcher. And if your starting catcher gets hurt, you need your backup catcher available. Sometimes you'll pinch hit your backup catcher late in games because you're going to risk that. But you don't want to be using your backup catcher as a pinch hitter early, and now he's out, because if your catcher gets hurt, now we're going to the emergency guy, the Chad Penders of the world. Remember that? Chad Pender was our emergency catcher. We had him on the show. When's the last time you caught? High school.
It's always fun. It's always fun to find out who the emergency catcher is for teams.
Who's our emergency catcher this year? Well, we're gonna have 3 guys because Soderstrom can catch.
That's probably the emergency guy.
But yeah, what if you're like emergency guy last caught his sophomore year of high school, and you can't call somebody up till the next day? Boy, you're in trouble. So how does this play out? Well, game 1, the Dodgers would beat the Cubs 4-1 in Tokyo. And it absolutely fried me that here you had Shota Imanaga. We call him Mike. Shota Imanaga. This may be the biggest start of his career. When you think about it, I don't know if he's going to pitch in the World Series. Obviously, pitching for Team Japan in the WBC is a big deal. But this start right here, you think about this. As a Japanese-born player, your dream has been to play professional baseball and hopefully one day maybe make it to the American leagues, make it to the big leagues in America. Now, if you just pitch in Japan as a pro, that's great. Their league's phenomenal. But if you make it over to America, wow, that's my dream. Shota Imanaga has made it to Major League Baseball in America. And he is lucky. There's 30 teams. They picked 2 this year to go to Tokyo and represent Major League Baseball in the Tokyo Dome. And it's his home country. Shota Imanaga pitching at home in his homeland at the Tokyo Dome. Family, friends, and a countryman wearing a Major League Baseball uniform is probably the biggest start of his career. If he doesn't pitch in the World Series or whatever, this is it. Do you know how big these games are for these Japanese players to come back to Japan and play in Major League Baseball? It means so much to them. It's the ultimate start. He walked 4 guys. The most he didn't walk 4 guys in a start last year. But it didn't matter. He didn't give up a run. They pulled him. They pulled him after 69 pitches. The biggest start of his career, a Japanese-born player wearing a Major League Baseball uniform at the Tokyo Dome. The whole country's watching because you've got all the Japanese stars on the Dodgers. You got 2 Japanese stars on the Cubs. Everybody, if you follow this on social media, they're going bonkers over this. We've done it. I've done it twice with the A's. It's spectacular, but this is bigger. This is Shohei Ohtani. Now, when we were there, Ichiro was obviously a big deal. But this is Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto. I mean, this is huge. And they pull you after 4? 69 pitches? 4? This is the total thing that we were talking about when you either got to have your starting pitcher before you can pull him. He's got to go 6 innings, 100 pitches, or give up 4 runs. That is Max Scherzer's idea. If you pull him at any point and he hasn't hit all 3 of these benchmarks, you lose your DH. Gone. They pulled Shota Imanaga in the biggest start of his career for a guy named Ben Brown, who then would come in for 2 1/3. He'd give up runs, 3 runs, 2 earned, and would get the loss. Do you even know who Ben Brown is?
No, I mean, I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about him.
You don't know anything about it. You pulled Shota Imanaga in the biggest start of his career, and he's scoreless through 4 and 69 pitches for Ben Brown, and you don't know who Ben Brown is? Shame on you as a guy who says he knows baseball. Because obviously you should have been following the draft when the Phillies selected Ben Brown in the 33rd round. Pick number 983 out of East Setauket, New York. So he's not even a Cubs guy. He's a guy they got from the Phillies. A 33rd. You pulled Shota Imanaga for some random guy who was a 33rd round pick. Now, I would love to talk to the brilliance of the Cubs brass. We are in the entertainment business. We're trying to entertain. You have all these people in the Tokyo Dome who have paid big money to come watch the Japanese star players, and you pull one of the stars for 33rd round pick Ben Brown of the Phillies, who now is a Cub, who comes in and gets the loss.
I don't even know why I'm looking, but I was going to say, I wonder how the Cubs even got him. David Robertson was in the trade for David Robertson in 2022.
I mean, you want to talk about tone deaf, and this is why we need to guard our sport against the baseball nerds. No offense, Eno Saris, our baseball columnist for The Athletic, who is the king of the baseball nerds, has granted us the permission to call people baseball nerds. These nerds don't understand. We are in the entertainment business. You have sent these 2 teams to Japan. You got a guy who's a Japanese star on the mound. We have 2 Japanese stars starting against each other. This is a big deal. And you pull him for Ben Brown, 33rd round pick. Ben Brown may go on to be a Hall of Famer someday. But right now, he is a who? Never heard of him. and he comes in and gets the loss. Now, what happens if we have these rules? Would they have pulled Shota Imanyaga if they would have lost the DH?
If you're going with the original double hook rule, that
would be and by the way, that would also be in that game one. Seiya Suzuki, Japanese star. You would have essentially, if we had this rule and they would have said, no, we got to get him out. 4 innings, he's gone 69 pitches, got to get him out. You would have pulled both your Japanese stars.
If we're going by the double hook rule that they use in the Atlantic League, what's his 5 innings? They might have let him go 5. If we're going by Scherzer's rules, I don't know if they've let him go 6 or on the first start of the year. No way.
But he could have got 100 pitches.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot that was one of the things.
Remember
the four earned runs, right?
6 innings, 100 pitches, or 4 runs. Now let's go to today's game. How this rule would have played out. Dodgers win game 2 earlier this morning over in the land of the rising sun, 6-3. And Ohtani would go deep. You're saying that it could have been fan interference?
It looked like from the videos I saw, it looked like it could have been called fan interference, but they're not going to overturn a home run by Ohtani in Tokyo.
Now, Roki Sasaka went in this game, was wild. Obviously, these guys are super pumped up. Back pitching in Japan. He's a young guy. He went 3 innings and they pulled him. 3 innings, 56 pitches. Why would that have affected today's game if we implemented the Max Scherzer rules?
Well, because you lose your DH.
And who hit the home run?
Ohtani.
And who's the DH?
Ohtani.
Think about that for a second, folks. If you pull Sasaki after 3 innings, you would have lost Shohei Ohtani. These 2 games in Tokyo have made me all in on the Max Scherzer rules. And however you want to do it, 5 innings, 100 pitches, how many runs, whatever, just the threat of losing the DH, seeing how that would have affected these games. There were 12 pitchers used today. Is that entertaining?
9 yesterday.
Is this good for baseball? Unknown relievers playing such a huge part in our game has got to stop. We need to sell stars. We need to sell the best of the best. And you can't tell me these 12 guys are the best of the best. Now, the Dodgers literally have a bunch of guys who can close. I get it. But most teams are doing this. If we're going to a Brewers, Pirates, Marlins, Royals, and we're going 6, each team uses 6 relievers, you're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. This rule today, you take Sasaki out, you take Ohtani out. Ohtani doesn't go deep. It's that simple. How much Dave Roberts, Craig Counsell, these last 2 games would manage the game differently, and they're getting their marching on. Once again, I hate to tell you, the days of Earl Weaver, all right, the days of Tommy Lasorda, Walter Alston, whoever you want, Sparky Anderson, the field general of a manager who he does it on his gut.
Jim Leland.
Right? Those days are over. The front office, I don't care who the manager is, the front office is talking to the manager about how they want to game plan every single day. Right? I'll never forget being at beautiful Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, having a conversation that literally and we've praised the Rays. Kevin Cash has won Manager of the Year awards. Bottom line, the entire game for the Rays is scripted out. Unless a starter gets hurt and you got to pull them out, the game is scripted. That is modern day baseball. And that's what we have to regulate. That's why we have to change rules to keep them from being able to do this. And these 2 games are like case in point. Like if you read that Sports Illustrated article by Tom Verducci and went, I don't know if I like this. These 2 games are like, this is why we have to do this. Right? We had to implement a clock to speed these guys up. Did it work? You bet it did. We've cut a half hour of non-action out of baseball games. A half hour by just implementing the clock. You can't have a clock in big league baseball. My ass, we put one in, and it's worked. We've sped everybody up, and there's more action or less downtime. And I remember people used to call into our post-game show, which I'm going to get it back to what it used to be, A's Talk. We'll be back. Our post-game show is back to being A's Talk. I remember people going, I don't want you to take my baseball away. I don't want you to take things. We're not taking anything away. We didn't go to 7 innings. It's still 9 innings. It's still 27 outs. We're just making everybody play faster. Every other sport, I've got to bring the ball up. I got to get the ball. Quarterback's got to hike it. We time everybody to hurry. You don't have endless amount of time. And that's what's great about the pitch clock. It's worked. It's worked. This is something I think the commissioner's office really has to look at because you are killing starting pitching. And the funny thing is what they'll say is, well, it's early in the season. Okay, well, then why are you still doing this in July? Bullpens are pitching almost as many innings as starters do. So you come out and you feed us this line of BS that it's early, and I look at you and go, well, 2 months from now you're going to do this. And then in September you're going to be doing this at the end of the season because then you'll have the excuse it's been a long year. They find an excuse for 6 months of why they don't want starting pitchers to pitch more innings. They'll give you every excuse in the book, and they're lying to us. They are lying. They don't want starting pitchers to face hitters more than 2 times. And they don't care what your pitch count is. They don't care how your arm feels. You could have electric stuff. They want volume of relievers because their data shows every single time you face somebody different, advantage to the pitcher. If a hitter keeps seeing different guys, he doesn't get used to that guy, and it's advantage pitcher. That's what their data shows. So they'll lie to us and say, well, it's early in the season. We're worried about him. You're not worried about him because you're going to try and pull him as fast as you can in July and August. And then in September, you're going to tell me how tired he is. It's the end of the season. It's been a long year. These 2 games in Tokyo showed us, Cody, and all of you out there watching and listening on A's Cast, why we need to change the rules to bring our starting pitch, to bring our Dave Stewarts back, to bring our Roger Clemens, to bring our Greg Maddux, Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson, Nolan Ryan, to bring those guys back. It's the entertainment business. We want to see star pitchers again. Stars versus, no offense, Ben Brown. 33rd round pick. That's what you got. Can you imagine? You've waited. You're this young Japanese boy who, what it means to you to see Japanese players playing at the Tokyo Dome for American baseball teams. Can you imagine if we got to see it through their eyes, what that's like, and how proud the Japanese people are? They are a proud culture, and how proud they are to see their players starring in America. We're Americans. We take it for granted. Trust me, you go over there, it is a huge deal to the Japanese people to see people, their countrymen, playing in Major League Baseball and coming back and playing at the Tokyo Dome, and you're taking my guy out after 4 innings to put in Ben Brown. What the hell are we doing?
You're really signaling Ben Brown here. It's unfair, but it's just in the sake of this conversation for
and
what happened.
And if Ben Brown's family somehow is listening today, I apologize.
They can listen or watch from Japan.
Ben Brown could be an ace someday, and I will say I didn't mean it.
We'll scrub it from the time. We'll scrub it from the existence.
This is not about taking. I'm not taking shots at 33rd round pick Ben Brown. By the way, for the Phillies, not even for the Cubs.
David Robertson trade.
He's a throw-in. Ben Brown, I hope you have a great career. No offense. He's 25. The world's your oyster. But I have to use you as an example. You took out a Japanese star for a 33rd round pick, Ben Brown, and people paid a lot of money to go to this game.
At least he went multiple innings.
Can you imagine? It's what the NBA's dealing with, right? Paying all this money, and I'm looking, and the star players aren't playing.
Seth Curry didn't play at home last night.
What are we doing? Right? Can you imagine? Second quarter, you're taking your quarterback out? People would storm. If you were doing this all the time, people, can you imagine the outrage? He's had a lot of throws. He's taking a lot of hits. It's week 8. It's middle of the season, week 9. We're pulling our quarterback. We're going to this backup that we drafted in the 6th round. I say that, you go, Chris, that's ridiculous. That would never happen. Exactly. I'm not taking Wayne Gretzky out because it's middle of the season. I got Wayne Gretzky in there to score goals and get assists and win games. We're pulling our best players to go to random relievers who hopefully throw hard. These 2 games just signaled to me, my God, we got to make the changes. I mean, it's great for our game to go over there and highlight. And by the way, Dodgers, I was watching the replay of game 1, and you're looking at their lineup, and you're like, man, it's not. The Dodgers have so much volume. They had Kike Hernandez playing first base.
Yeah, he did a home run today.
I mean, it's just like, I mean, seriously. Kike Hernandez is playing first base on opening day.
Can you guess who hit the first home run for the 2025 season in Major League Baseball?
I did not see today's action because I was on meetings all morning long.
Well, it was not Kike, nor was it Shohei Ohtani.
Was it a Cub?
No, it was a Dodger.
Rojas.
Nope. It's a super utility guy, though, who signed a big deal in the offseason. Re-signed with them. Sanford kid. Tommy Edman.
Tommy Edman? Oh, wow. St. Louis Cardinal Tommy Edman. Wow.
That's the first home run of the 2025 season, Tommy Edman in Tokyo.
How are they doing their roster? They have so many people that they have signed. How are they doing their roster? It's almost like they have like a travel squad. They have so many guys. They have so many guys.
Well, they wanted to get Freeman off his feet for a day.
Did you see Kershaw was in the booth? Kershaw's with them. Oh, yeah, he'll be back. They have all these guys on like a taxi squad. It is unbelievable. Coming up next, Steve Sachs. We're going to have a segment called Sacramento. Steve Sachs from Sacramento. Next, right here on A's Cast Live.
And it's a hit. Folsom Lake Ford has stepped up again, winning the Triple Crown Award, Ford Motor Company's highest honor. Now 7 years in a row, Folsom Lake Ford is a top sales leader in the U.S., along with being top in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Now that's a home run. Don't miss the huge savings on your favorite models at your truck headquarters. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall.
A's starting pitcher Luis Severino joined Towny on A's Cast Live in Mesa and discussed his role as a veteran leader in the clubhouse.
For me, just learning for the guys that like when I was younger, Cesar Sabatia, Ivanova, Michael Pineda, I played with Aero. So those guys teach me how it was, how it is to be in the big leagues. So I would try to do the same thing with those guys, if they need me. When my first year, I was trying to impress everybody, so right now it's just, trying to get ready for the season. So if I need to talk to those guys and let them know, you don't have to be 100% every time. You don't have to go 100% every time, When we need you to go 100% up there and pitch, that's the day you want to compete. So don't go out there and go crazy and try to get hurt and taking ground balls or trying to catch a fly ball that you don't need to. So just to, let them know what I learned while I was younger.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2025 season. Secure your seats today for opening week against the Chicago Cubs and lots of exciting giveaways, including an A's basketball jersey, a straw hat, and 3 bobbleheads. You'll be nodding yes to our Brent Rooker, Mason Miller, and Lawrence Butler bobbleheads in June and July. More hot ticket homestands as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, and Mets. Get your tickets at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
A's All-Star Mason Miller joined Towny on A's Cast Live to talk about the responsibility getting the final 3 outs in a game.
It's exciting. That's the time of game. Everything that's went into it is building to that point. And usually when I'm in there, it's an opportunity for us to win.
Yeah.
So just pitching with that energy, pitching with that mentality that I just got to get 3 outs. It doesn't have to be pretty. I want it to be pretty, but it doesn't have to be. It's just just get 3 outs, hold the lead.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
All righty. So we will get to this in Diamond Notes. But the rotation to start is going to be Severino, Springs, Beto, Sears. We knew all of that. The question was who was going to be the number 5 guy. As we told you here, probably going to be Joey Estes. And it is Joey Estes. So congratulations to young Joey Estes, who we think so highly of, who could be a big part of this rotation for years to come. And someday maybe even be ace-like. Mitch Spence will go to the bullpen. Mitch Spence will start games. You will see Mitch Spence starting games this year. He will begin the season in the bullpen. Don't forget, that happened last year, and he ended up pitching or starting 24 games. Even though he started in the bullpen, he still started 24 games. And I think the big thing here is for Mark Kotsay and for Mitch Spence was Mitch Spence showed how good he was out of the bullpen last year. So, Joey Estes, starter, Mitch Spence can be a hybrid and do that role well. Well, a guy that is no stranger to people in Sacramento. Obviously, it's a big deal for us because our games in Northern California are going to be on 650 KSTE. He's going to be joining me also it's the hybrid of our pregame show now on television and radio. Will be simulcast. You'll be able to watch it on NBC Sports California, called A's Cast on NBC. The great Steve Sachs, 2-time World Series champion, 5-time All-Star, is with us. I know, Steve, we're getting close to it. We're about a week away, but I know how excited you are, just not to be following the Athletics, but just to be doing it in your hometown. This is a huge deal for you.
It's a huge. First of all, Towny, great to be with you, and this is just a huge deal. It's a huge deal for all of Sacramento to have the Athletics there. The town is a buzz. I think what's really cool about this is a kid growing up. Of course, I was a big A's and Giants fan. I grew up in Northern California. I like those 2 teams. But to be able to play with the A's in my career, too, was like, a dream for me. And I was able to do that, albeit late in my career. But still, nonetheless, I got to don the uniform, which was just an unbelievable, exciting thing for me. But to have the A's in Sacramento, have any major league team in Sacramento, then it becomes the A's. But have it in West Sacramento. That's the thing. Nobody would have ever dreamed when I was growing up that we'd have a major league team near there. But in West Sacramento, here we are. And this is a great thing.
What was West Sacramento like? Because that was like a whole thing when this thing came down. Yeah. And, you're like, oh, no, we're not going to be in Sacramento. We're going to be in West Sacramento. And for somebody who's been in the Bay Area my entire adult life, and then when I was a kid, I grew up in San Diego. I'm like, I don't know what's Sacramento versus West Sacramento. I mean, I had no clue. And a lot of people that are still going to be A's fans in the Bay Area, and they kind of don't know really the difference. Sacramento, West Sacramento. What was West Sacramento like when you were growing up?
Towny, I grew up on a farm in West Sacramento, straight shot as the crow flies, probably about 3 miles from where the ballpark is. Very, very much a rich agricultural area. And I loved growing up in that era. We had a barn, hayloft, horses, pigs, chickens, cows, the whole thing. And a lot of space to play baseball. That was a great thing. My brother and I got to play a lot of ball together and against each other out in that spacious area of farming district, we called it, in West Sacramento. But it's amazing how this city already is just clamoring to get the season going. They can't wait to go and see the Athletics. I know that everybody is just thinking this is the greatest thing. And remember, Sacramento in and of itself, from years past, was always a big baseball town and boxing town. That's pretty much what Sacramento was. A lot of baseball players and boxers that came from Sacramento, and now certainly with the Kings there, they've adopted the Kings. But this is something to get baseball there. I mean, they haven't coming back again from the years past in the 70s when the Sacramento Solons were there and they played at Hughes Stadium at Sacramento City College. Now we've got, you know, the ballpark there, and had AAA ball and still do. And now we're going to get Major League Baseball there. It's incredible.
You know, I just thought about this because we've done it before going to Tokyo. You go and you play. Now you come back. The Cubs will probably go back to Arizona. Yeah. And then from Arizona, they'll come up to play the A's. Well, actually, they'll open somewhere else. But, you know, we've now seen the Cubs a little bit. Cubs have a huge following. They are like the kings of the Midwest. So many people who grew up in the Midwest, they migrate east or west, but so many, you know, for the great weather. I have the Cubs on the first series. Padres got star players. And then the big one, you got a New York team and the highest paid player in the history of baseball coming, and Juan Soto and the Mets. Those 3 series right out of the gate are going to be huge in Sacramento.
I'll tell you what, I've got friends that have texted me that are flying in from Chicago, getting a B&B, and they are going to the 2 Cub games there at the ballpark. They are going to attend 2 of them, and they're just beside themselves. They can't believe that they're going to be able to come out here and watch the Cubs in West Sacramento play ball. And that's kind of the scope of what you're seeing, is the city's abuzz, everybody else around the country. I think we're going to get a huge fan base coming from the Bay Area over here to watch the games as well, because it'll be something new. And, you know, there's a lot of talk about it.
The highest median tickets in all of baseball is in West Sacramento. Who would have ever thought the average price of a ticket, there's 30 teams, the highest would be, it says a lot about Sacramento. They already have the 4th highest tickets in the NBA. It just shows that there are a lot of sports fans and people who really, really want this. And I think this really plays for 3 years for Sacramento to do an audition saying, why not us? You know, a lot of people talk about Portland and they talk about Salt Lake out west. You know, you got Nashville, you got the Carolinas, North Carolina, and then, of course, Montreal, where we look at potential destinations. Orlando's now supposedly a big player coming in maybe for the Rays if they're going to move. So movement is going to happen, and at some point they will expand. So Sacramento, this is a good showcase. You know, we just had the starting rotation laid out. Luis Severino is going to be the opening day starter. You played in New York. You were a Yankee. You get that. Talk about the fact that Severino has played his whole career for the Yankees and the Mets. He hasn't played somewhere else, that he knows what it's like to play on the biggest stage, and that's a huge factor of bringing him in to lead this pitching staff.
Absolutely. It's a great anchor for the staff. He's a top-notch guy. He can go out there and he can go the distance. I know when he takes the baseball, he expects to go 9 innings, which is something completely antithetical to what you were speaking to recently in your discussion in the previous segment. But that's his mindset. And I'm with you, Chris. I think that's the mindset that you have to have going out there, is give me the ball, tough situations, opening day. It's a pleasure to take the ball, and I want it, and I'm going to go the distance. That's his mindset, and this is a guy that can do it.
You know, the media has changed dramatically over the years. Back when you were playing, there were a lot of newspapers. So you played in the 2 biggest media markets. That's why you're perfect to ask this. Los Angeles and New York. Papers were king. You had a lot of television. Now we don't have as many national writers. We don't have as many beat writers. What is the difference between playing in LA and New York?
Okay, so I'll tell you something that's going to be kind of shocking to you. Is I found it a lot easier to play in New York than I did in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And really, Towny, it's because of the composition of the ball clubs. When I went to LA, I mean, you know, frankly, we won the World Series in '88. We weren't as talented as the A's. I mean, they had a lot more talent than we were hot. They caught us at a bad time, and we had great pitching, and you know, and so that really was able to propel us. But it was really the composition of the teams. When I went to New York, they had, you know, Ricky Henderson, they had Jack Clark, they had Don Mattingly. They didn't care about Steve Sachs. I mean, I got to go in there and just quietly do my job And all the news and stuff was about George, and Dave Winfield was still there on the team, and Mattingly had cut his sideburns too short and too long. And so Towny, nobody cared about what I was doing. I just got to go in there and quietly have one of my best years when I went over there to New York, because no pressure, man. They didn't care about me. They had all these other guys they were talking about. So they looked up and, oh, okay, that's not a bad year. So it was a good thing for me to go, and I did.
Can you imagine if social media, we always talk about the Bronx Zoo, right? And just how with Steinbrenner, it was just firing and hiring managers and feuding with his players. For God's sakes, he got suspended because he hired George Sprint. For you kids, you can Google this. George Steinbrenner got suspended because he hired a private eye to follow around Dave Winfield, his own player,
I think
get
so.
dirt on him because he wanted to get rid of Winfield. I mean, the Bronx Zoo, you experienced it. I mean, it's nutty. Can you imagine if social media would have been around back then?
Oh, forget it. I'm glad I didn't play in that era. You had some, a little bit of privacy, but today there is none. I mean, it's just quite different. But I got to tell you, I enjoyed playing for George. When I went over there, he told me, this is what I'll do for you, and blah, blah, blah. And when I went over there, he did it. He did a lot of little things that never got reported. Like I went over the base incorrectly at first base and sprained my ankle one game. And I came out in the third inning, had a big bubble knot on my ankle. And I was getting ready to leave the stadium in crutches. And he said, he phoned down. He said, nope. Have him take the keys, give him to the trainer, and I'm getting him a car. As long as he needs a car, he's got a driver until his leg's better and he can drive his own car. I mean, things like that. There's many, many things that he did for players, like got us the new locker room while we were on a road trip, because he heard that the locker room was a bit disheveled, and he got new. Everything was new in the locker room when we came home, everything. And, so he did a lot for the players too. And I know that one instance about him in Winfield was really kind of fun to watch. It was like almost like a soap opera, if you will.
No doubt about it. Speaking of second base, thinking about Zach Geloff, something that's, your expertise. Zach Geloff came onto the scenes. He got called up, and he showed everything. I mean, he showed everything. He showed he's a big kid. He's super athletic. He can run. He's got power to all fields.
Yes.
I made the comparison, maybe not fair, but it just reminded me of a young Ryan Sandberg, because that's how Ryan Sandberg played. Last year, he got hurt, played through it. And when you try and play through injuries, some stuff can happen. And he didn't have, his numbers are still for a second baseman. You take it, but we expect him, or I expect him, to be a potential star. What do you think it's like for Zach Geloff trying to get the train back on the tracks and get back on that side, that career that could be something really, really special?
Well, Towny, I've been watching him this spring, and what I've seen with him is it looks like he's made a couple of adjustments. When he's hitting, because he wants to shake that moniker of all the strikeouts. Okay, he doesn't want to have that around his neck. And this guy is a super good athlete, and he's a lot bigger than I thought he was until I kind of put it in perspective and watching him play. I noticed him now kind of waiting till the ball gets a little bit deeper in the zone. I saw him hit a ball out recently to right center field. I mean, way out of the ballpark. I mean, he hit this ball back here in the zone, and you kind of lose that power because you don't have the same leverage when you're out in front. Yet he took a ball that was almost even with him as far as letting it, get distance in the strike zone, and he crushed this ball to right center field. And I'm thinking, this young man can make a mistake and still hit home runs, and hit him that far to the opposite field, I think is something great. So the reason I mentioned the strikeouts is because I think he's tracking the baseball a little bit longer, which is a great thing for him because he's still got power the other way. And if you see a guy hitting balls that hard, that far, the opposite direction, he's doing things right. He is on the right track, and it's paying off for him, I believe.
Let's end on this, because we're going to have you on the next couple days as we just start getting prepared for the season. At this time of the year, you've had to send guys down who are going to play a part in the 2025 season. When you were coming up through the Dodgers system, obviously you guys would win the World Series the first year you were there. It's absolutely loaded. It's the Dodger way. What is that like when you tell that young player, hey, go down there, but when you go down there, don't sulk. This isn't a demotion. You're going to be back, and you're going to help us. How important is that player to understand that I want to be here, but I'm not going to be here. But I go down and take care of business. I will come back.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's gonna happen. It's part because there's just so many numbers on the team that you can carry. I had this happen to me actually when I came up in '81, which was a preemptive look before I started my rookie season in '82, and came up and played well. And when it was time for playoffs and World Series, Tommy Lasorda brought me in the office, says, "Hey, you got to sit down. Davey Lopes is healthy now. He's coming back. He's got veteran experience. You sit down and you just be over there and watch." But I'll tell you this, if I'm the manager next year, you're going to be the second baseman. So what did I do? I just shut my mouth and went down there. But the point is, these guys got to know if they're good players, and they know they are, and the organization knows they are, they know who is, and they're going to be back. That's the main thing about it, is they know that their time is coming. And sometimes it's frustrating to be patient that way. But if the communication is good, and Mark Kotze is a great communicator, he puts that to them and lets them know that you're going to be a big part of this team. You just got to be a little bit patient, but you're going to be here and you're going to make some huge contributions to the ball club. And that's important to have that communication, which manager Kotze certainly does.
I mean, being in the Dodgers system back then, Steve Garvey set the record for consecutive games played in the National League before he broke his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Penguin at third, Russell at short, Davey Lopes at second base. I mean, if you're a young prospect coming up, you're like, you got to get rid of me. I'm never going to make this infield.
Yeah, or maybe they can age out is maybe your chance, and that was the only chance I had, because I wasn't going to take Davey Lopes' spot, and he was getting up there, and then they traded him. They traded him to the A's, and he came over to the A's and did really well. So these guys just got to remember that this is kind of that bad time of year where you're going to start hearing some guys are going to get sent down and whatnot. But, the formation of the team is starting to settle now. But, hey, you know what? If you got the goods, you're going to be back and make a contribution. And remember, you're also know that there's many other teams out there that that are seeing you play.
We used to always talk about this in preseason football in the NFL. So when I was doing Raiders, it was like, you're playing in this game for the Raiders.
Yeah.
But you're also playing in this game for 31 other teams.
That's right.
Because those 31 other teams are going to make cuts, and they're going to look at who the other teams cut. I mean, every single time you step on the field, yes, we want you to bleed green and gold. But every single time as a professional athlete, you step out on a field, you're advertising your wares for everybody in the sport.
There's no question. Once you have it shut down, or it seems like you're shut down somewhere, just remember there's a seed of possibility that just got planted right over there. And maybe that's with another team. Maybe it's with the Nats, or maybe it's with the Padres or whoever. You just don't know who that's going to be. Because, look, other teams, they got guys that get hurt. They got guys that aren't cutting it, and they trade them or whatever. There's so many things about this. My nephew's in this position right now with the Boston Red Sox. He's right on the cusp of making the team. He was up last year. He's 27. He can really play. I think he's going to make the team. But, he may be facing this as well, and he knows this.
Oh, who's your nephew?
Nick Sogard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nick Sogard.
When you get blocked, like if Davey Lopes would have been young, you would have been a guy that all the teams are coming for during the trading deadline.
Yeah.
And you for sure would have been traded.
Well, yeah, I would hope to have been, because, you're not going to move Davey Lopes out, so hopefully that would have happened. And, there's other possibilities too. Possibly playing in Japan is another possibility. You go over there for a couple of years, you come back, you're a free agent, you made some money, and you're still young. If that's a possibility too, because the world of baseball has expanded into a global community now. It's not just here, but it's all over the world.
I'm so excited about this season. I'm ready to get it going right now. We are going to have a great year.
Have a blast.
Not only here on A's Cast, but on NBC Sports California. All right, buddy, be well, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Towny.
The great Steve Sachs, 2-time World Series champion, Rookie of the Year, 5-time All-Star, had an unbelievable career. And the cool thing is, Steve Sachs, Johnny Dosco, we're going to live the Sacramento experience, as we talked about earlier. Shota Imanaga, if we could see what a little kid's like in Japan, seeing Japanese stars playing at the Tokyo Dome, I can't imagine what that's like for a young Japanese kid. It's got to be one of the highlights. Like, oh my God, he's Japanese. He's playing for the Dodgers. He's playing for the Cubs. It's the Tokyo. I mean, huge. I mean, for us, I mean, not as big, but I think it will be big to experience Sacramento, Major League Baseball in Sacramento through Dosky and Steve Sax. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that, we're going to be there. I don't know when you plan on, but I plan on being there next Sunday. We're going to our opener on that Monday, but I'm looking forward to it.
This coming Sunday? Why would you be there this Sunday?
The weekend of the Mariners series in Seattle. That's whatever the 30th is. I think it's the 30th.
Yeah, some of us got to work every game.
Well, I mean, I'm going up early to make sure that we can do our show. So
I'm glad you're going up early because I have to work while you're hanging out in Sacramento. You're going to Fats or you're going to somewhere else, and all the different places we're going to eat and hang out on the company dime. Some of us got to still grind it out. Good for you. No, I'm going to be up there Sunday night also after the game. So
yeah,
Shooty Babbitt will be with me in studio in San Francisco for the first 4 games against the Mariners, and then I'll leave San Francisco for Sacramento. And I can't. Cubs come to town. Who are the Cubs?
They start in Arizona, so they go to Japan, come back. I think they still have to play spring training games.
It was miserable. I'm telling you, when we did it, it was miserable. That's why FYI, most teams don't want to do this. Billy Beane was always like, we're in. But most teams don't want to do it because you go to Tokyo, you leave Tokyo, and you come back and play spring training games again. It's weird. You go to Tokyo, you play the Japanese teams, then you play the 2 games that matter. For us, both times when I was there, it was the Mariners. The first time the team went, they played the Red Sox. But then you come back to Arizona and you play, and your body is just wrecked, right? The time difference, you're coming back. You're gaining your day back that you lost on the way there.
You're only 16 hours ahead. You're fine. It's awful.
It's awful. I couldn't sleep. Like, you have insomnia. It's like, it's awful when you come back. And I remember in 2019, we didn't go back to Arizona. We came back here and we went up to Sacramento and we played. And I remember Bob Melvin talking about how, like, all the guys were just dead on there. Everybody slept on the bus on the way up to Sacramento. I mean, it was just, but you come back to Arizona and you're going to play spring training games. You've played 2 games that matter. Now you're going to go back to spring training games, and then we're going to start it all over again.
Yeah, and luckily for the Cubs, they're playing in Arizona, so it's not like they have to go, fly back, play games in Arizona,
or go to Wrigley,
and then or go back to Chicago, or go play the Yankees or something.
Can you imagine if you would go from Japan back to Arizona, then to Chicago, and then have to fly out to Sacramento? But there'll be 6 games underneath their belt. Right? There'll be 6 games underneath the Cubs' belt by the time they get to Sacramento.
There's a lot of teams that have an off day on that Friday. We don't. We play a 4-game series in Seattle, but that first Friday of the season, there's a lot of teams that are off.
How do you have Fridays off?
Cubs and Diamondbacks are playing, yes.
Yeah. So they'll have 6 games. We'll see what the Cubbies look like as they head to Sacramento 6 games into the season. Craig Counsell, they don't spend money in the offseason breaking the bank on players. They broke the bank on their manager
last year, but yes.
Last year.
Was he making $8 million or
$7 million or whatever? It's $8 million?
He was the highest paid manager until Dave Roberts has got extended. I think Roberts is now the highest paid manager. He's won 2 World Series, so he should be.
He was such a great manager. They paid him so much because his decision-making process wins so many games in Milwaukee. He starts out the season 0-2.
Is it time to panic on the north side?
They're the north side.
Yeah. Are you panicking?
They're not the east side or the west side. They're the north side, and there's the south side.
Do you think Cubs
Is that
fans?
The most tired thing in the world?
Well,
the south side of shit. Nate's going to have to learn our game that the major crutch for play-by-play people is when they go to play the White Sox. They can't stop saying south side. It's the south side of Chicago. South side, south siders. It's unbelievable. So we track for an over and under game that we play, how many times from the time the play-by-play guys come on till the end, how many times they'll reference the south side.
And we set a number, yeah. Like it's usually
and we'll throw in pail hose.
Yeah, that counts too.
To where most people have no clue what they're talking about, but baseball people are stuck in their ways.
I can't wait to see. They'll say it during games when they come to when the White Sox come to West Sacramento. I'm sure we'll still say Southsiders, pail hose.
Are we going to track other broadcast teams if they say West Sacramento versus Sacramento?
That'd be a fun game to play.
I don't think they will. I don't think they'll know. They'll just say Sacramento.
Yeah, who knows? Some guys are astute, so we'll see if they do it or not. South
side of Chicago. Who we got the Guardians today.
Guardians, yeah. Who I read an article on ESPN, and they were talking about teams that could break out this year. And the Guardians, who won the AL Central, are a breakout
team.
How
are they a breakout? They were in the playoffs last year.
The Tigers were on that list.
They were in the playoffs. How can you be a breakout team if you're in the playoffs?
There was one other team that was a breakout team, the Brewers, who won the NL Central.
So we have teams that won the division could be breakouts?
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. Let's pause for station identification right here on A's Cast.
This is Shea Langoliers. You're listening to A's Cast in Sacramento's new home for athletics baseball. Talk 650 KSTE.
By the way, was Langoliers a one and done on that? So we would interview players and then we'd have them tape that. Wasn't Langoliers a one take only guy?
Yeah, we kind of tracked what guys were one take guys or whatnot. That ID I played on our end, and obviously KST is playing their own. So I'm playing I'm playing it so we don't have 10 seconds of dead air on the video stream.
What does the Bull get in Vegas?
It's a great question. I don't know. I never got a chance to
So
listen to
if you're listening to Sacramento, you didn't hear Shea Langoliers, but Shea Langoliers did it, and it was one take. To where other guys, not so much.
Some guys
struggle a little bit with it.
And a lot, I didn't preface it with some guys. It's 650, not 650. There's some guys that were saying 650. So we had to work around that. But
these kids have never listened to radio.
Yeah,
they don't listen to radio. All right. Coming up next, we go behind enemy lines. Everybody believes the Texas Rangers, who went 78-84 after winning the World Series the year before, could be a 90-plus win team again, and they could be winning the American League West. Pacoda says it's wide open. We'll talk about it next right here on A's Cast Live.
Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2025 season. Secure your seats today for opening week against the Chicago Cubs and lots of exciting giveaways, including an A's basketball jersey, a straw hat, and 3 bobbleheads. You'll be nodding yes to our Brent Rooker, Mason Miller, and Lawrence Butler bobbleheads in June and July. More hot ticket homestands as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, and Mets. Get your tickets at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Lawrence Butler joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live to express his gratitude to the A's after securing his 7-year contract extension.
I mean, it's a surreal feeling. I mean, like you said, I love this organization. You know, they were the only organization that took a chance on me out of high school, you know, in the draft. And, you know, I thank them solely for that. And, you know, I'm just thankful and I'm just grateful, you know, humble to be, you know, chosen to, you know, be able to have this opportunity. And, you know, I wouldn't want it with any other organization than the A's because, you know, they've showed me love since day one. And, you know, I've loved them, you know, 100% back. And, you know, it's just been a mutual thing that, you know, me and the A's have, you know, grown to become, you know, a great relationship with everybody in the organization from top to bottom.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Become an A's insider today. Visit athletics.com/newsletter and sign up to receive the latest team highlights, up-to-date news, features, and more, all delivered free to your inbox. That's athletics.com/newsletter.
A's outfielder Brent Rooker joined Chris Townsend during spring training to discuss the confidence inside the A's clubhouse.
It's a very real confidence. It's a very real optimism. It's unique in that it's a confidence that also comes with the knowledge that we haven't proven anything yet, and we know that people on the outside still don't believe in us, but we believe in ourselves and we believe in each other, and we are at a very cool crossroads of being hungry to compete, wanting to compete, and knowing that we can compete while also being confident what the future looks like. So it's a cool feeling inside the clubhouse right now. Guys are working really hard. Guys are communicating well. We're talking. We're trying to help each other get better, and that's a cool place to be.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AsCast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
I can't wait to have Jared on, broadcaster Jared Sandler from the Rangers broadcast. We were just in Dallas for the winter meetings, and I went over to the Monday Night Football game. It was Cowboys Bengals. Is that the game I went to?
Yeah,
Cowboys Bengals, right?
Bengals, yeah.
And it is amazing how much, if you think about going back to Arlington, Texas back in the day, when there was only the ballpark and the amusement park there. So now there's 2 ballparks, Jerry's World, and now they're building a museum. I believe it's for people of one special military, and Jared should know more than I, but I got to see, we parked right by it. But it's going to be a museum for people who've won like Purple Hearts and stuff like that. It's the area in Arlington has absolutely grown. Jared, how are you? Welcome back to A's Cast Live.
Hey, what's up, Chris? I was at that game. I'm sorry I didn't run into you.
Yeah, we were there for the winter meetings. But by the way, what is that incredible museum? It's a military museum, and it's going to be really, really special to honor some of the great vets who have ever served our country. I can't remember the name, that's on me, but what is that museum that's going to open right there?
Yeah, National Medal of Honor Museum that I think actually opens next week, a few days before opening day.
That's a big deal. That is really cool.
Yeah, no, and Ray Davis, who's the principal owner of the Rangers, is very involved in the veteran community and does a lot of philanthropic work publicly, but really largely privately for veterans, and he was played a huge role in bringing the National Medal of Honor Museum to Arlington. But I heard your intro. I mean, I grew up in Dallas, and Arlington was nothing, right? Nothing in that. Like there was one attraction, the ballpark in Arlington. I guess Six Flags and what used to be Wet and Wild, now called Hurricane Harbor. But yeah, it's kind of becoming the sports capital of DFW, or the sports hub of DFW, especially if the Mavericks leave American Airlines Center, and who knows where they end up, and the possibility of a sports book going there. I mean, it really has changed drastically over the last 10, 15 years.
I'm glad you brought that up, because when I was there, so the Adelson family was a part of bringing the Raiders from Oakland to Las Vegas. They have now become the principal owners of the Mavericks. Mark Cuban still controls the team, I guess, but he has sold a lot of it, so gambling is coming. And I heard about all that, and I'm like, well, I mean, Arlington, if the Mavericks go there and there's gambling, Arlington as a sports mecca, you've got the Cowboys, who are one of the top teams in our country, Rangers, who are now World Series champions, 2 ballparks. I mean, Arlington will be like, wow.
Yeah, if only we could get some public transportation. Jerry Jones will always get in the way of that because it takes away money from his pockets with parking. But that's the only thing is right now we got all these people in Dallas, all these people in Fort Worth, and there are people in Arlington, but not as much in those other cities. And we just need a little bit better system, maybe teleportation or something. I don't know, but the public transportation system that exists in several big cities around the country just does not exist in DFW.
I was so happy for you guys when you won the World Series. You were very gracious with your time to come on this program to talk about it. And then last year happened. Just talk about the difference of the high, the euphoria of finally winning it. As we've always talked about with you, the Cowboys, high school football, college football dominate Texas. And here the Rangers own the moment. And then last year, obviously, was very tough with all the injuries.
Yeah. Have you seen Severance, Chris? Have you seen the show? If you haven't, this would fall flat. But I got the severance procedure, so I'm just living in 2023. I don't know what happened. Last year was tough. And you know what stinks is, you're right. There's a lot of competition just in any market now with technology and streaming and entertainment options. But yeah, I mean, in the fall on Friday nights, you compete with high school football, and then of course in the fall on Sundays they're the Cowboys, and there's not one allegiance from a college standpoint, but Texas, OU, Tech, and football is so huge. And the Mavericks were also big with Luka, and the Rangers had been largely irrelevant from a competitive standpoint for 6 years. So they go, and not in your typical, trajectory, they go and just all of a sudden win the World Series. Nothing should diminish any of that, but it's not like they had a track record of winning and winning and winning here over the last few years to develop a fan base. And so people went into 2024 saying, hey, 2023 is awesome. Let's do it again. But can you do it again? Are we sure you can do it again? Whereas the Dodgers, they finally won their second World Series during this amazing run, but they're winning the division every year. You've established winning with that team. The Astros, I hate to say it, but the Astros fan base is what it is, because they have been competitive every single year. And so I think it was disappointing, just because even if the Rangers didn't win the World Series, and the odds were that they weren't going to win the World Series, just getting into the playoffs would go a long way. Or forget that, playing meaningful baseball in September would help. But the Rangers weren't even able to do that just because of the injuries and a bunch of guys who were healthy, or when they were at least in the lineup, not performing well. But they've got an opportunity again to grab hold of a market share, because the Cowboys continue to frustrate people. Not that the Cowboys aren't going to still be king, but the apathy is stronger than it's been. And Chris, when I tell you I've never experienced a visceral reaction to a sports transaction the way that I experienced the Metroplex responding to the Luka trade, that is not an understatement. And there are a lot of people who are very frustrated with the Mavericks, have cut ties with the Mavericks. Season ticket holders have dropped their season ticket packages. And there's an opportunity again for the Rangers to establish a place in the DFW sports fans' mind. And I think a lot of people are hopeful they get off to a good start, and they do that.
Yeah, we've all lived it. When you're in a market that has the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball and the NHL, when the other teams struggle, it's time for you to take advantage of it, and the Rangers did that. Can they do it again? The Rangers are the favorite right now. Everywhere you look from a gambling standpoint, or you go to Pacoda, everybody, they think the division's pretty close, that the A's probably should be better. We'll see if the Mariners can hit. Can the Astros still stay the Astros? I still don't know what the heck the Angels are going to do, but it could be pretty close. John Gray, we know, has gone down. I mean, health, to me, everything for you guys, it's are you going to be able to stay out of the doctor's office this year again?
Yeah, and if you would have asked me a week ago today, I would have told you, hey, the Rangers have had an awesome camp, and I base that solely on health. And then within about a 3-day stretch, they lost Cody Bradford. He's going to be out until June, and John Gray's going to be out until June at the earliest for both. And that's tough. Now,
two of your starters already out till June.
Yeah, but I'll say this. The Rangers have guys who can fill those spots. Jack Leiter, who's had a great camp and is the PCL pitcher of the year. He seems ready to take another step. Kumar Rocker. The problem isn't that they don't have capable arms. It's the innings that they can expect from these guys. And it's not just Kumar Rocker, who's thrown fewer than 100 innings over his last 3 years, and they're going to be protective and conservative. It's, Jack Leiter, I actually don't think that they'd have as much of a governor on. It's just a matter of how deep can he go into games. But Jacob deGrom, they're going to be conservative with him. Tyler Mahle, they're going to be conservative with him. So, they can put together 5 starters who are really good and really impressive. But, over 162, it's preserving the bullpen and having the necessary depth. So, yeah, losing John Gray and Cody Bradford hurts. They just signed Patrick Corbin yesterday. Listen, we can look at Patrick Corbin's numbers over the last few years, and we're not, you don't need to, squint to see that he has really struggled. I think the Rangers hope that he can just eat innings and buy time, because I think they believe, not that this is going to be like the 90s Rangers that, have to win games 9-7, but I think they believe that they're going to have a really, really good lineup, similar to or maybe better than their 2023 lineup, which sets some franchise records in terms of performance. So I don't think they're worried about having to win games 3-2 and 4-2. But I think they need guys who can eat innings, and Patrick Corbin hopefully will fill one spot in the rotation where he can just eat innings for you and protect the bullpen and allow you to get through 162.
Are you saying Juan Gonzalez, Mickey Tettleton, Pudge Rodriguez, and crew are not walking through that door?
They're not, but, Chris, we had a lineup last night that was maybe what the lineup would be. The Rangers are facing a lefty on opening day in Garrett Crochet, but when they face their first righty, it very well might be that lineup. And Jake Berger hit 8th last night, and he could hit 30 home runs. I mean, he's got that ability. He's done it. And that's the type of depth that the Rangers have. So, no, they don't have Juan Gonzalez or Pudge or Mickey Tettleton. They don't have guys who are popping out of their jerseys or anything like that, but they do have a very deep and versatile lineup. And it's, Adolis Garcia is kind of, to me, the X factor in this. Not that if he does not bounce back, they can't be good, but of all the guys who struggled last year, Jonah Heim, Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, Adolis is the guy who is the most volatile in terms of what the best can look like and what the worst can look like. And he's the guy who can be an aircraft carrier and carry a lineup for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, hell, he did it during the ALCS against the Astros and, the grandest of stages shy of the World Series. So, I think the variance of this lineup is very much dependent on what they're going to get out of Adolis Garcia.
All right, just two more because we know you got to get to your play-by-play. What are your expectations for DeGrom?
My expectations are that he gives this team 25 starts, and he might not have the innings to justify Cy Young candidacy, but I think that he is going to give that type of performance. And I don't know how long it will last in terms of years because it's a second TJ, but I just have no reason to believe that he's not going to beat Jacob DeGrom when he's on the mound. In this very first year post-TJ, I think is going to be maybe the best year just because, in theory, it'll be the least wear and tear he has on the UCL post-surgery. So I do think he's going to be really good, but I don't know that you're going to see a lot of 7-inning outings in the first half of the season. And you might not see a ton of 6-inning outings either. It might be 5 and let's go to the bullpen. But I do think when he's on the mound, he is going to be a stud. And he's pitching today, and knock on wood, he's able to get through healthy, and he'll be ready to go for the season.
It's always funny when I hear TJ. I grew up in San Diego, so when I hear TJ, I think Tijuana. What, Tijuana? Jose Leclerc comes to us. Going to be a big part. I want your scouting report on what kind of guy we got, your relationships with him. I know he was huge for the World Series run. Give us a little bit on Leclerc, what you got.
Man, first of all, I'm so happy that he got some money. Not that he signed an extension years ago at the Rangers, but I would not have guessed he would have gotten a $10 million deal after the season he had last year. And I'm super happy for him. And he, to me, is totally the type of guy who could bounce back easily. He's got great stuff. He is a super hard worker. His teammates loved him. They adored him. And he grew up in this organization. We got to see this kid as an infielder convert to the mound and play such a huge role in a World Series. But he is a very soft-spoken guy, really good athlete. Chris, you'll see him running around the field hours before games, just about, every game. He works his tail off. He's a great leader, especially for the Latin American pitchers. He just didn't have a great year last year, and the Rangers were limited in their resources and chose to go in a different direction. His Slambio, which is kind of like a slider changeup hybrid, is an unhittable pitch when it's on. His fastball command is what can get him into trouble sometimes. But again, we know that relievers can be volatile. He didn't have a great year last year. And I think his best role is probably in a setup role, not as a closer. So that's not an issue in Oakland with Mason Miller. It just seems like when he's going, he is so tough to hit. And I'm sure he'll give Rangers hitters problems. He's a reason why. That bullpen's a reason why, Chris. I think the A's are going to be better than the Astros this year. And I know that my bias for the Astros is not camouflaged in any way. I just think they are due for a disappointing year. Alex Bregman's gone. I think he is was such an important part of their team. I don't think Joe Espada is a good manager. I think Mark Kotze is a great manager. And I really, really think that the A's are going to be a problem for a lot of teams. And I see them finishing ahead of the Astros in this division.
Hey, if you want to keep ripping the Astros, here's the floor. Go ahead.
I know. I know it.
Just keep
I
going.
know it. I'm never short of words to do that, but I really do. I'm curious how the new situation plays. I get the sense it could be a home field advantage for the A's, but I really do think that they're going to be a really darn good team this year.
We see you early. You're coming out early.
Yeah. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's basically April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. We will see you before we take on the Giants. Hey, we always appreciate the time, especially before you got to work. It means a lot to us. Good luck to you this season. And, yes, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good, Chris. Thanks so much for having me. Take care.
Take care. Jared Sandler, play-by-play for the Texas Rangers. I like it. You know what? Baseball needs more of that, right? We need more of we don't like you and you don't like us. And we're good with that, right? Like it mattered. We kicked the crap out of the Astros. You look at 12, 13, 14, and then Astros got good. And then there was a battle. Don't forget, A's and Astros hooked up in the postseason at where?
Dodger Stadium.
Dodger Stadium during the COVID playoffs. I mean, we don't like each other. Ramon Laureano, during COVID, literally ran to the Astros dugout and challenged the entire Astros team. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And we were supposed to be against it because we're social distancing and everything. Ramon Laureano was one of the coolest things. I mean, if you didn't love Ramon Laureano before you loved him, then I always loved him. He was a fighter. Who was their hitting coach that was popping off to him?
Wasn't it Alex Cintrone?
Cintrone, that's right. And I guess there's a little history there. And remember, there's no fans in the stands, so any chirping from the dugout, you're hearing everything. And Ramon's going down the first baseline. Cintrone's chirping. I don't know how many times this has ever happened where, remember, the Astros dugout was on the first base side. Your teammates are on the third base side. You've got no one coming to help you. This is the kind of man Ramon Laureano is. He ran at the Astros dugout and was ready to take them all on. If that's not a guy you want to go fight with every single day, I don't know what is. So, you know what? Were there deficiencies in Ramon Laureano's game? Yes. I didn't care. Because I'll go fight with that guy any day of the week. He'll take anybody on. You need that mentality in your clubhouse. You've had clubhouses where you have uber talented guys, but they're soft. They're uber talented guys. They only care about their stats. Ramon Laureano is the type of player that wasn't there for his stats. He was there to win and play hard every day. And when you've got a guy on your team that's willing to literally throw hands, there's a lot of fake tough guys in professional sports. Ramon Laureano was not fake. He would throw down with anybody. And there's certain guys like that, and it resonates in your clubhouse because you're always going to have prima donnas and you're going to have stat heads. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And having a guy like Ramon Laureano, he brings out the fight in everybody. What was that one fight where Darryl Strawberry, I think Strawberry was a Yankee at the time, he threw haymakers outside the dugout. Then he went flying into the dugout. I mean, why do you think Straw had his issues off the field, but why do you think everybody loved Darryl Strawberry?
It was against the Orioles.
It was against the Orioles. Like Darryl Strawberry was a star, but he was willing to go to battle. Nolan Ryan is beating people. I mean, Nolan Ryan, come on.
Robin Ventura.
He's smoking Ventura on the head. I mean, you want guys like that. You need guys like that. You know, I'll give you a guy that we had in 2012, 13, and 14, Josh Donaldson. You need a little bit of a red ass. You need guys you need toughness. You got to have toughness on your ball club. There's been plenty of teams, super talented, and they're just kind of soft. I'll give you a team that's been like that. They weren't like that last year. And I don't know if Towny brought it, but the Dodgers were known as soft. Yeah, the Dodgers for 162 games have all that talent, but all of a sudden you got in the postseason, you're losing to the Diamondbacks, you're losing to the Padres, you're getting bounced early. I'll give you, look at the Atlanta Braves all those years. 14 straight years they won the division, they won the World Series once. Because when push came to shove, somebody was tougher. We focus so much on data. Man, there's something about toughness, right? Toughness. Like those Yankee teams, Jim Leyritz, the king, was a tough guy. Yankees had tough guys. Yankees had some guys that were, Paul O'Neill was as big a red ass as there was in baseball. So you can talk about all the different stars that they had. They had Paul O'Neill out in right field, and Paul O'Neill brought it every day. He doesn't get enough credit as being one of the leaders. Like they had internal toughness. Do we have that? Do we have that? I think Lawrence Butler, I think Gettleff, I think some of these guys, I think Rooker, and these guys are tough guys. You got to have that. You got to have that willing that we're going out to fight every day. This is professional sports. You win or you lose, and you will be judged on that. And if you lose, guess what? You're going to hear it. And these kids that we got, some are not kids, but this team and the young guys, they have experienced a lot of losing, and they're tired of it. They're tired of it. They don't want to do it anymore. And that's part of learning. Unfortunately, not everybody rolls into the league and just all of a sudden just wins every year. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes you got to have it handed to you a little bit, and then you stand up and you say, you know what, guys, as a group, I'm over this. Are you over this, Cody?
Oh, the losing? Yes.
Yeah, everybody's over it. So what do you do as a group? You say, not anymore. We're going to start winning some games. I'm tired of getting beat up by the Rangers. I'm tired of getting beat up by the Astros. I'm tired of getting beat. You know what? We're going to start beating them up. And that's what happened in 2000. You start in about 2017 to 18. Matt Chapman was that guy. He was a fighter. That's why I always have respect for Matt Chapman. And if Matt Chapman's a fighter, everybody else got to be a fighter, right? And you have that group, that 2017 to 18 group, I'm tired of getting beat. And now I'm going to start taking it out on you. You got to have that. And I think we do have that. That's why it's going to be this year's going to be a lot of fun. And this division's why, I want to say Pacoda that puts the percentage on winning division.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I checked, things can change. Pacoda had the Rangers at 33% chance of winning the West. It was the lowest mark, or still is, I guess. Check it. I think it's the lowest mark for a team in Pacoda's history since they've been doing it. That it's the low. Where are they?
To win the division, they have them at 42.2% now. So it went up.
So it's gone up. But when they were at 33%, it was the lowest of any team to win a division since like 2016. So what are the percentages right now?
They're at 42.2. Houston's at 39.2, and Seattle's at 23.7. But I remember what you're talking about. They were all kind of like splicing like the low 30.
What are
range.
we?
1.8. They have us below the 8. I don't know. They ain't.
It's all right.
No,
perfect. Us against the world. Us against the world. I wanted to highlight Diamond Notes today. Maybe we should do that at 12:30 before we get to
Brownie.
Because there's a couple things. There was an article that our boss sent me today about the coverage of the Associated Press in Sacramento. That it was like, oh my God, the old guard can't try and hang on long enough. The Associated Press.
All I remember from that is I saw something about AI. There will be no AI writing articles. I'm like, okay, I like it.
I read that article, and all I could think of was Jurassic Park. Dinosaurs. That's all I could think about. My God.
There's a couple things for Diamond Notes.
I'm just going to tell you this. Oh, yeah. We got to get to Severino. We have a clip we want to play about Severino.
The rotation set. Max Schumann's playing center field today.
Shoe Dog is in center field. I'm just going to say this. And already the narratives are being hammered down. We experienced it in Vegas when we were just there. we just saw that the A's have the largest median tickets in all of baseball. So there was that narrative that who's going to want to go to a AAA ballpark? What players are going to want to sign there? Severino signed the biggest free agent contract of the offseason before Juan Soto. People said no one would want to sign there. No one would want to play. Severino signed. And then, well, are guys going to want to be there through the 3 years? Brent Rooker re-signed. Lawrence Butler re-signed. So that narrative squashed. People going to want to go see games. It's too hot. We're sold out every game. The most expensive median tickets in all of baseball. Narrative after narrative. You know what needs to happen? First pitch in Sacramento. Not the first 4 games in Seattle, because that will be kind of business as usual. The first game, first pitch, first game, so much is going to be like rearview mirror, see you later. Because once the season gets started and you're seeing the games in Sacramento, the old narratives that happen in the Bay Area are just going to slowly flush away. All right? I mean, we experienced it. Look it up. So many similar things were said about the Raiders on the way out. No one even talks about it anymore. They've moved on, and they're very happy. They moved on. They're happy. The business changed and moved on. Life change is inevitable. There will be change. And things are going to change, and people are going to move on. And right now, there's still the narratives they're trying to hold on. All right? And this article we saw today was like, oh, my God, how tone deaf can you be? And it's moving on. But it's not until that first pitch to where you really – and they're still going to – trust me, the Bay Area is still going to come up to SAC and still try and find out any problems that are going on to see, I told you so. They're still going to hold on to that. But no matter how they try and hold on, slowly but surely, you know, it's like you're plucking on where one finger after another is being dislodged, and it's going to go away. And like I said, and I know we have a lot of Bay Area people that still listen, mark my words, the Bay Area landscape is going to get a lot smaller real quick from a sports standpoint. You're going to notice it like, wow. Because no one's seen us play in Sacramento yet. Wait till you start seeing Sacramento. And then all of a sudden, you're going to realize, wow, there's a baseball team and an NBA team there in San Francisco. There's a football team and a hockey team. They play in the South Bay, nowhere near San Francisco. The market just got – it's not like in Philadelphia or Minnesota where all 4 teams are right next to each other. This is really spread out. Coming up next, we will unveil diamond notes, things that matter to us with the A's in baseball, and Seth Brown, all coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall. FolsomLakeFord.com.
That ball is out of here.
Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2025 season. Secure your seats today for opening week against the Chicago Cubs and lots of exciting giveaways, including an A's basketball jersey, a straw hat, and 3 bobbleheads. You'll be nodding yes to our Brent Rooker, Mason Miller, and Lawrence Butler bobbleheads in June and July. More hot ticket homestands as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, and Mets. Get your tickets at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game time, schedules, and more.
New A's starting pitcher Jeffrey Springs outlines the similarities between the young A's to his old team in Tampa Bay.
A lot of similarities in a lot of the ways, in the sense of like young guys, a lot of talented, young players that are establishing themselves or have, established themselves in the last year or two, and really finding, their way, their path, and kind of, making the adjustments. So it's exciting, watching, the guys throw, the guys hit, and then, like you said, competing against them the last couple of years, the talent. It's exciting, when you kind of have younger guys that are hungry and eager to play. Those can be dangerous teams. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
Athletics DH Brent Rooker joined Towny on A's Cast Live during his extension press conference to discuss becoming the face of the franchise.
It's been a wild ride. It's
crazy.
Yeah, it's happened quick in a sense. And it feels like for me, in a sense, it's kind of taken a long time, obviously, because it took a little bit later into my career for things like this to start to develop. But it's been crazy. It's been fun. I owe a ton to this organization, the people in it, for giving me the opportunity that I was looking for a while, and I'm grateful I was able to take advantage of it and get to this point.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
All righty, let's get into some diamond notes. We're going to start doing this every day. We're going to start trying some stuff out that we're also going to be using on NBC and also the pregame show on A's Cast. And one of the things that I like to do over the years is go over the stuff that matters to us, that maybe news with the A's, news with baseball, you haven't heard or paid attention to. I think the big deal is, obviously, with the Athletics, the start of the rotation. The rotation is set. It's going to be Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, Osvaldo Bido, J.P. Sears, and Joey Estes. Mitch Spence will go to the bullpen, and he'll be the long guy, which is very key early. If, once again, we're worried about our starters going innings, he can come in and give you some quality innings, get you out of jams. He proved he could do that last year. And eventually, things start to change. Human beings, guys get hurt. He has the ability to start and give you quality innings, as he gave you 24 starts last year. It also allows Joey Estes to really, start making his way up as Severino and Springs and Sears, right? Bido. But Estes is the young gun who is the future of this rotation. So because he was disappointed he didn't make it last year out of camp. He makes it this year. Can't wait to see him in Sacramento to give him a congratulations, because we love Joey Estes. Love, Mitch spin it. He spins it. Mitch Spence will the spin doctor will play a big part in this year. If this team's successful, Mitch Spence will play a big part in it. But Randy Miller, who covers the Yankees for NewJersey.com, he's covered the Yankees for years. We recently had him on, and Luis Severino is important. It's important. We talked about the change in culture for the team, and to show everybody in baseball, things are different. Spending money, investing in the team, but really just not investing in the arm. You're investing in the person. Randy's covered Severino, who's going to be your opening day starter, and this is what Randy had to say about covering Luis Severino over the years in New York.
He has pitched in a lot of big postseason games, and if the A's can stay in it and make it interesting this year, I think that his experience will help guys, because he will talk to guys. I know when Domingo Germán, who had the perfect game out in Oakland a couple years ago, when he was going through some things, Severino was the guy that counseled him a lot. He was a mentor to a lot of not just the Latino pitchers, but Clark Schmidt was a guy who was texting with them last year even. So this guy is going to be almost like a second pitching coach. I really hope the guy can stay healthy. He's had some bad breaks, but when he's healthy, he can be really, really good. He can be a legit number one. I've seen it for years at a time, and I'm hoping he's healthy and can make 33 starts and get over around 200 innings, because the guy can win some ball games for you.
Not only a number one starter, but like a second pitching coach. That's great to hear, the leadership. That's exactly what this rotation needs. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm not going to belabor this whole point about this article we kind of just went over it, but worried about the AP press may not be at our games. When's the last time you read an AP press sports recap of a game? Can
baseball?
We are about 20 years apart, a little less than 20 years apart. I couldn't even tell you. Any sport.
I do it. The last time probably I read a couple hockey ones for the Sharks on ESPN. That's it. Because that's the article they post on ESPN.
If you want to know what happened in a game,
you just get it sent to you.
You literally, the app, MLB app, will have all the highlights. We'll tell you what happened in the game. The days of an AP writer having a shell story, going into the clubhouse, getting a couple quotes, coming back, filling in that shell article with some quotes and sending it out. Nobody buys papers anymore.
I mean, it's a fact. And
for God's sakes, the San Jose Mercury News, one of the big papers, they don't even have the stories the next day anymore because stories have to be in by 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. So if it's a Monday, the next day, Tuesday, I only got the preview stuff. They don't even get the box scores of any of the like the San Francisco crowd. Be better. So, I mean, I get you're trying to hold on to your industry, but you're a dinosaur. Like, if we think we can get everything we want on our phones and our computer instantly, is anybody waiting around for the generic AP story? Are you serious? That is so dead. The newspaper industry is dead. It's dead. It's on life support. No one gets the paper anymore. You're begging people to pay for your .com website. You're begging for it. It's going away. It is what it is. I'm sorry to all the writers. We don't beat writers, really?
We have one.
Most teams, what beat writer? It's a shame. Is it? You've been replaced. They figured it out. If I want to watch the highlight, well, you can get the audio highlights, you can get the video highlights, you can get the game story. We're going to really, that's the thing we're going to like, oh my God, we might not have an AP writer there. Who'd read it anyway? Where would you get it?
I just appreciated that it's
ESPN.com.
It'll be on there.
Do they still have, I don't even know. I don't even go to them anymore.
Usually they're like when there's like a release about a game or whatever, a game recap, it's usually the AP one that's written. It gets pushed out to everyone.
When you say everyone, who?
Like some of the publications, I mean.
Who? Where am I going to see this AP report? Where am I going to see it?
I just know, like, I can only relate it to when I read hockey stuff. I don't know how it works with other sports.
Where do you get it? Do you go to ESPN.com, CBSSports.com?
If one person writes an article, usually for the AP or whatever, it'll go to like the Santa Cruz Sentinel, and it'll go like you'll see like all this stuff pop up like for the different publications around here, like about the Sharks. I don't read national stuff from the AP. I always forget that. The only time
So you go to the Santa Cruz Sentinel?
No, it just pops up when you Google something, and it'll show like that stuff like when you're looking for something. The only time
so there's not even like you don't. Point is, you go to ESPN.com, you click on Major League Baseball, you go to scores, and then there's this whole process that I'm telling you, young people do not do at all.
Just use the app.
They don't do it at all. I know my kids are young adults in college. If I ask my kids, you even know what the Associated Press is? They'd say no, and they're in business. Like, these old baseball people are trying to hold on to stuff that is going away. Bye-bye. And then the Chronicle tries to make it a big deal. It is very obvious that the people that are at the Chronicle, John Shea, the longtime national baseball writer, has left the Chronicle. It's very obvious there is still a bone to pick with the people who are at the Chronicle. So we're going to make it a big deal that the most people in their 20s and their 30s really don't need an Associated Press article. Generic article that people are going to care.
The only time I ever worry about the AP is when they put out the AP coaches poll for college football and basketball when he sees in the top 25.
There you go. I mean, you're better than that. It was such a tone deaf. It's tone deaf. It's like, stop. All right. You have a question. Part of Diamond Notes here. You have a question for me about the Angels.
So Rhett Bollinger, who covers the Angels for MLB.com, who will be our guest tomorrow to preview the Angels, at noon. He tweeted this out a little over an hour ago. The Angels instituted a new rule this season with players not allowed to be on their cell phones at their lockers. Ron Washington said he did it so the players would interact with each other more and bond. Mike Trout and Zach Neto both said it worked out great so far. Are you a fan of Wash saying no cell phones at your locker in the clubhouse?
Is that for the season? Spring training? What is that?
It doesn't. It just says new rule that players not allowed to be on their cell phones at their lockers. It doesn't say season, regular season, spring training. But I guess we can find out more tomorrow from when we have Red on. But interesting rule for. I get it. A lot of people my age and that age group are always on their phones, and he wants them to interact.
Everybody's on their phone.
Yeah.
By the way, I hate it. I think it's archaic, and it's not going to work. It's archaic. This is not how you relate to young athletes. Now, there is a way to do this. Harbaugh did it, where you had designated times, okay? You have to treat the players, and the players are regimented, right? Players understand, I've got to go to meetings at this. When we're down spring training, players are on a schedule. The schedule's up. Players know, I got to be at this meeting here. I got to work out here. I got to be on the field here. I got to go see Uncle Vito and his crew for the pictures. Like, players understand that, right? So I remember Harbaugh did this, and other coaches have done this, to where they've said, all right, we're going to give you 30 minutes of private time. Now go be on your cell phones. Talk to whoever you need to talk to. You're human beings. Saying you're going to be in the clubhouse, and that, like, how are you? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Yeah, how do you punish them?
If I got to take a phone call, my wife's calling me about the baby, my mother's sick, I got to step out. What world are you living in? It's 2025, Wash. Can't have your cell phones on. And I know there's going to be people who go, I like that idea. You just did it. But it's like, that's not a reality. Phones are a part of people's lives. Texting is how you communicate with people. There's stuff going on. To just say that I'm going to sit in this, because remember, these guys are in the clubhouse. They show up at noon
for a 6:40 game.
Okay, well, that's 6 hours and 40 minutes. BP's only so much. So you're going to say for hours, these guys are not going to be on their cell phones so we can talk ball. I mean, come on,
man. I knew you'd appreciate it. Or I knew you'd have a good reaction when I told you about it.
I mean, come on. You know what, Cody? You couldn't do it.
What?
You are addicted to your devices.
Wait, before you criticizing for not looking at my phone late at night, but now
no, your phone is on. You're looking at your devices. You're watching. You are doing something. That's why you can have your notifications on. If I ever text you something important, you respond right away. You just don't answer your phone, which is a horrible habit. But because people are only calling you when they need you, but you are on your devices all day long. You're on Twitter all day. What would Cody Elias do for 3 hours in a clubhouse with no devices?
Oh, that takes away the idea of playing video games. That's a device. So
video games are gone because you got to talk ball. Yeah. I know what we should do. Let's play to the players' addictive personalities. Let's have them gamble more with cards.
Yeah, I was going to say play cards. What are we going to do? Play bingo?
These guys are wired, testosterone, young. I mean, these guys are just, what do you want them doing? Gambling more? Is that what you want?
Am I supposed to go lift before the game? Or am I supposed to run on the treadmill?
These guys have, I know I was one of them, a highly addictive personality. These guys, like, what? How do you think these guys got on steroids? How do you think these guys did all the things they did? They're highly addictive people. It's what athletes are, right? They're adrenaline junkies. No, sit at your lockers and talk about ball. No, they're now going to be like, all right, let's play cards. All right. And that's what you want in your clubhouse, guys losing 50 grand before the game. That's the mindset. These guys, when they're on planes, they play for a lot of money. Is that what you want? Do you want before the game your guys playing? You want a guy going into a game pissed he just lost $15,000 in a card game?
Probably not, no.
No. So why don't we rethink this? You know what? Go ahead, use yourself.
I just love that, and like we can ask Red about it tomorrow, but I love that at the end, the last sentence is, Mike Trout and Zach Neto both said it's working great. I'm sorry, is Logan O'Hoppe and insert random Angel going to go, this has been great so far? You have to use the two biggest guys on the team.
How about when Mrs. Trout's trying to get a hold of Mr. Trout about something happening with the kids?
Oh,
I was in my locker talking ball. How do you think that's going to go?
I thought you were going to go somewhere else. Like, well, why does it matter? He's not going to be playing in the game anyway.
Oh, wow. Rally Monkey not happy about that. That's a cheap shot at the Rally Monkey.
For everyone who doesn't know, my wife is an Angels fan. She grew up in Southern California. She's an Angel. That is her Rally Monkey.
Well, for you listening, I'm holding up the original Rally Monkey brought to you by Custom Logos. What does it say? CustomLogos.com, San Diego, California. The Rally Monkey is not even from Anaheim. It's from San Diego. How ridiculous is this thing? They're still rolling this stupid. It doesn't even look like a monkey. The original Rally Monkey doesn't even look like a Rally Monkey.
But yeah, so
look like a monkey.
That's why I bag on the Angels so much. And I like Trout as a personality, but my wife's an Angels fan, and so is her whole family. So they're Dodger fans when the Angels aren't winning.
I'm sticking up for the kids. What generation are these 20? They're not millennials, right?
No, they would be Gen Z.
I'm sticking up for Gen Z. Let them eat. Where are you on this?
I'm a millennial.
No, I know you. Where are you on the cell phones?
I can see why
we've proven that you wouldn't be able to do it.
I could see where Wash is trying to do it, but yeah, I'm with you. It won't stick because no one's gonna sit there for 3 hours and talk, like you said, talk ball.
If you agree with Wash, I'm putting you on a 3-hour no device, and not like you're going for a walk. You're stuck somewhere like a clubhouse for 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could do that. Well, you can read a book. That's on a device.
Well, now we're going to ask players to read books at their locker.
It's not it. Read a scouting report.
I did it one time. I was on vacation. I went into the ocean with my cell phone in my pocket. Cell phone went gone, and it was awesome. And I had for like a month, I had no cell phone. You had to call my home phone.
We call that a landline for all the kids out there.
Yeah, I had a phone at house. Leave me a message. Drove everybody nuts. That my wife finally did we have kids, you have to have a cell phone. Because I was like, this is awesome. Can't text me, can't.
When was this? How long ago? Young? Were the girls young?
Girls were young.
So you could have had a beeper.
No, it was well past the pager era.
What's the way people get
I want to say it was right before my kids went into high school. So probably like 7 years ago.
It's the height of social media age and everything, yeah.
Oh, I couldn't check anything. I didn't have a phone. It was great. Couldn't get a hold of me. The leash was gone. Oh, the good old days.
Oh, so before we get to Seth Brown, I didn't realize you were a Severance fan.
I was just agreeing with him.
Oh, okay. I'll say it's actually a really good show.
The other one I wanted to bring up too, one more Diamond Notes. And we're going to start doing this every day, and we're going to take this to television with us. So it'll be a little more organized. We just want to start conditioning you. Every day we're going to go through the certain topics, right? So Diamond Note number 4, as we'll call it. All this talk about Time Warner and the Dodgers TV contract, Dodgers are going to start doing, they're going to start doing a streaming only
option, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the more pricier ones, but they're doing it.
What you're seeing as baseball has to figure out how to get all these teams on one platform. It's probably going to be around 25 teams, which means there's going to be 5 teams that are going to fight it and say, we got our own option. We can't let go of this. The money's too good. Even those teams, the announcement about NBC, our own NBC Bay Area in California and streaming, but the Dodgers, who have the best TV package of anybody, we got to have a streaming option because these people don't want to pay for cable. So you got to have a streaming only option because I just want to watch the games. I don't need TBS, TNT, Sci-Fi Network, Animal Planet. I don't need all that. I don't watch that. I know you need to watch the Desperate Housewives of Orange County, Cody, but not everybody needs that.
It's actually Salt Lake City. Get it right.
Of Atlanta, Beverly Hills. Not everybody wants that. Like I just want specific things. So the streaming options continue to rear their head. Streaming, it's all going streaming. Right? Even what we're doing with NBC, they're pushing everybody to Peacock. That's the future. So even the Dodgers with their $300+ million a year Time Warner deal are realizing, yeah, this is the way it's got to go. So the next 3-4 years, 5 years are going to be really interesting to see, not just our sport, because our sport goes, NBA's going streaming, right? Hockey, this is the future.
I mean, the NFL's on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So yes, it's the future where everything's going.
Do we have enough time for Brownie?
Yeah, we got to hurry though.
All right, Seth Brown, Sarge, he's a leader in this clubhouse, joined us earlier this spring.
A's Cast Live. It is always great to catch up with you. Always great to see you here at spring training. I mean, you really are the leader of this franchise, and I think you have to be psyched about the direction, the way everything's going.
Oh, it's amazing. Just the last couple of years to be here from the start of it to where we are now. It's truly just remarkable what these guys have done. Coaching staff, players, the work ethic that the players put in, the confidence that they have. It's exactly what we hope at the start of something big that happens. You see these guys start to get their vibe and their feel for the game and the routines locked in. So it's pretty special. It's pretty awesome.
The evolution of a franchise, the evolution of a clubhouse. You're the last remaining guy from when this team was in the postseason, and you've watched the teardown, you've watched the rebuild back up. For you and your career, what has that been like to be a part of all of it?
It's something that I haven't really sat back on and thought about, just from where I started to where it is now. And, there's been so many moving parts with everything. And, my focus has always been, okay, what can I do to help the team win? And I've really carried that kind of from when I first got called up. Is my job is to do whatever it is asked to help the team win. And I think that's the mindset I've held through everything that we've been through as a team and everything that they've done with the, moving the stadium, moving the team, all that stuff, it to me is just a distraction that you don't need. And it'll be a distraction if you let it. But it's one of the things I've harped on the young guys about is like, you can't let the outside stuff affect what you do here. And so it's, the best way to do is just do your best to lead by example. And, for me, that's not worrying about what goes on outside of the game, outside of the, what's going on that day. Show up, do your job. And that's kind of been what I preach to the young guys every day.
I mean, the bottom line, we've been through a lot.
Yes.
We've been through a lot of heavy stuff that not everybody's been through. And I think what's great is your time here with the A's, and from when you got drafted to where you are today, being that veteran guy, that a player can come to you about anything, whether it's stuff on the field, it's stuff off the field. What does that mean to you that you can be that rock kind of in that clubhouse for a lot of these guys?
To me it's humbling, because I remember when I first got called up, I was a young guy, and I was never afraid to ask questions. And I watched a lot, and learned from the guys that have been around the game a long time. And I'm lucky enough to have played with some guys that did it for a long time. And so taking what they told me, just stuff I've listened to in clubhouses in past, I'm passing that on. I mean, that's what this game's about, is pass on knowledge. When somebody's doing something that they shouldn't be, let them know. When they're doing something right, you let them know. And I think that's the cool part about baseball. It's a passive knowledge, and there's so much knowledge in the game right now, and especially with the analytical stuff that they're adding to it. There's just a lot that you have to take in. And so my job is to just try and keep it simple, and help these young guys keep it simple, and pass on knowledge that I've gotten from other guys.
We've been waiting for that 1 year where you completely stay healthy, because it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sport, people get hurt, but this is the year where we're, because we think there can be a monster year in you. I mean, take us through what you thought about. I know you got young kids, you got the family, you got everything you're doing, but in this offseason, the preparation heading to this year, 2025, going to be playing in Sacramento, what's the mindset?
Mindset for me is just let the game be itself. You can only control what you control. I think that's been one of my toughest battles is, analyzing myself 24/7 instead of just letting the game happen. And so starting this off season, my goal was to do a little bit less baseball stuff. Normally I'm a guy that right when season ends, I give it about 3 weeks and I'm right back in there. So this year I took time to enjoy the family.
Was it tough to kind of not do your normal routine?
No, especially because the guy, the group I hit with up there, Kyle Higashioka lives up there too, and so they started hitting about 3 or 4 weeks before I did, and it was always tough just because.
Where are you?
Yeah, you get that itch to hit. But no, battling that off and just spending time with the family, and so for me, that allows me to just enjoy the game for what it is. And you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, but letting that happen, and there's no reason to analyze anything. it's a game. You go out and play it as hard as you can, and the cards are going to fall where they're going to fall.
Seth Brown with us here on A's Cast Live, and your versatility, obviously, we know what you can do in the outfield. You can play all three outfield positions. I remember it's like, he can play center. He can get out there a little bit. Obviously, really good at first base. It was like funny last year. You didn't play any first base in spring training. Next thing you know, they're throwing you out there. But I think this year, with Rooker being able to go back into the outfield, you can DH a little bit more. Do you see that? Do you see that like that being a little better for you this year, being able to get some more ABs at DH?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, Rook dealing with what he dealt with last year and doing what he did was just incredible in itself. Obviously, the competitor he is. But, with him playing the outfield again, it does free up some spots for guys to get, maybe some days to rest the legs while still being in the lineup. And I've always told Kotz, I play wherever you want me, man. You tell me where you need me, and I'm ready to go.
Speaking of Mark Kotze, and we'll end on this, the fact that he got that extension, I know that John Fisher, the owner, came in. You guys didn't know. The coaching staff didn't even know. And the announcement that he's going to be here, he has the longest contract in baseball right now for managers. You've been, like we said, you've been around here a long time. You had Bob Melvin. You were here when the team was going to the postseason. What did that announcement about his contract, the Severino contract, the extension for Rooker, what has all that meant to you?
It's amazing because you see that the front office, they got plans and they're moving on those plans, which is awesome. And Kotze being the man he is, and so happy for him and his family. He's a grinder, and he's always been that way. So to see him, get that extension is fantastic for him and his family. And it gives him even more confidence to do what he needs to do. And to watch this unfold. Talking to Dan a little bit this offseason and what their plans were, and he told me, he's like, hey, we're making some moves, so it's going to be fun, and they're doing exactly that, and it's exciting to see this group, this core group, really be kind of started to singled out and saying, hey, you're our guys, and let's get going.
You got a lot of young talent in that room that's ready.
Yeah.
That's ready to win.
Oh yeah. And that's what you see out there. I mean, you see the confidence that they all play with, and that stuff is so contagious in this game. When you got guys that are going out there and having a blast like they are, I mean, you can tell on their faces every time they take the field. And that stuff is contagious, and it's a morale booster for sure. Even when you have those grindy days, it's confidence is key.
Good luck, stay healthy, and we'll see you in Sacramento.
Thank you.
Always
very much.
great to have you on the show.
Absolutely.
Seth Brown right here on A's Cast Live. Choking, Cody.
You okay?
Yes, I'm okay. Coming up next, Guardians and A's right here on A's Cast. We'll see everybody tomorrow for A's Cast Live at 11 a.m. Enjoy the baseball game.
Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2025 season. Secure your seats today for opening week against the Chicago Cubs and lots of exciting giveaways, including an A's basketball jersey, a straw hat, and 3 bobbleheads. You'll be nodding yes to our Brent Rooker, Mason Miller, and Lawrence Butler bobbleheads in June and July. More hot ticket homestands as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, and Mets. Get your tickets at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
This has been a presentation of The Athletic.